So we're trying something new here. So Hoser Hockey Hour is fucking like it's dead.
No,
like, it's just everyone's asking like what yeah, it's done. We're retiring that again. No. For the second time, we'll fucking die.
So for our 100 fans out there.
No, there wasn't 100. What are you talking about, man?
We get hundreds of views.
Literally like 102.
That's not true.
No,
that's not true at all.
Yeah, well, yeah.
All right, so guys, welcome to this new show called Life Chats. This is Kevin.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Because everyone's gonna be like, "What the hell is Hoser Hockey Hour?"
I forgot we're not doing that. I forgot we're making a new channel for this. Okay. I thought we're doing what we did with Mock, where we just like posted Hoser Hockey on the old one. We just changed the name. We're doing a new channel. Okay, that makes more sense why we're explaining this. Yeah, so I came with this idea to Michael where I was like, hey, no one actually really cares about hockey. Well, people care about hockey, but most people don't. Like that I'll have friends listen to the podcast and then they're just like.
Yeah. Preface that we had a hockey podcast before we did this.
Okay, so because it was funny because like my friends would be like, yeah, listen to like the first 2 minutes when you guys were just talking, and then when you get into details, they're just kind of like you lost interest, and I'm like, no, that's fair. Like it was a niche thing, so I came up with the idea like, why don't we just bring Mock back, but just not call it Mock, which is our other show, and just be like, yo, like let's just do something else, make it more fun, like actually have it be more structured, because I remember Mock was just kind of we were like, yeah, let's just hang out tonight. Oh, I guess we can do this too, and how awful those videos
So
were.
the premise behind this show is talking about, like, we're young 20-somethings. We're trying to discover ourselves, and
we're trying to discover ourselves when people our age are getting married, they're getting houses, they're having children, they're having dogs, and what are we doing with our lives? We're talking to a camera because we
hey, it's Nikon. Don't discount it. It's Nikon.
We have nothing better to do. Clearly.
But it's to give us like it was like a sense of structure. So this is Life Chats, and
we might change the name later. We might be called Guys with Glasses in like 2 weeks, but
I just completely lost my train of thought.
Yeah.
So basically, it's to talk about.
Wait, what was the bullshit logo? You're like,
no, we're gonna.
That's gonna be the thumbnail. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, cool.
So the premise, I guess, if this has any, behind this show is to talk about things that are either going on in the world, issues, hot topics, not politics, in case we want to kill each other. Although I think our politics would kind of align the same way.
Kind of, but then sometimes no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that's okay. You still like me anyway.
Civil War! So this is basically kind of what the show is about. It's actually now it's actually talking about stuff and not being like, okay, well, what's next?
Exactly,
right?
Yeah.
So this is episode 1 of Life Chats. And today's episode is actually, you talked about marriage and stuff. When you're young 20-somethings, there's kind of, you've said this a lot over the years, you're kind of divided into two worlds, kind of. You have the 20-somethings that kind of don't have their life figured out.
Us.
You know, they're either in school or getting their career
or
going.
just working, like just like
and
doing nothing
away.
Yeah.
And then you have the other 20-somethings where you don't know how they do it, but yet they're getting married.
Yeah,
kids,
they've amounted
houses,
to something in their lives, that they actually have full-time employment, they're actually doing shit, and what the fuck are we doing?
And becoming proper adults here.
Yeah.
So in this episode, in our inaugural episode of Life Chats,
yes,
we are going to talk about, is it better to be single or is it better to be in a relationship? And what are the pros and cons of that? So I have notes on it because it's a loaded topic.
It's a novel.
And I'm still going.
Anyone that knows you knows this has been a loaded topic for the last 2 months.
Not 2 months, 3 years.
More recently, 2 months. But no, it's definitely like a hot button thing.
It's a hot, and it's a lot of people. I'm still going through my list.
Name drop. Yeah, that's fucking hilarious.
So Kevin, for those of you who don't know Kevin, are new to the show. How do you feel about this topic? Serial datist. Okay.
Well, I mean, if you knew me a few years ago, you knew what I looked like. I mean, like physical appearance aside, I lacked confidence for the majority of my life.
Normally, he doesn't sweat this much.
No, I'm not even sweating. But no, See, it's interesting because I realized that dating is a lot to do with confidence, and it really did change my perspective on what it means to be with someone that actually is having a meaningful relationship. You know, I used to, I think a lot of people can attest to this, or maybe not. They would date someone, and they would think they were really pretty, and they cared so much about what their friends thought that they would often kind of look past certain flaws, certain serious flaws, for the sake of showing out to their friends, oh, look how pretty my girlfriend is. And that was sort of me to a degree. I was just like, and again, no offense to those girls, nothing to brag about, but neither is this. So, we can both agree. And, whoa, but no, it's waka waka. No, I think really it was interesting how that kind of changed through dating. I remember that the first few dates that I went on from meeting women online it was interesting. It was just like, I knew nothing about dating. I knew nothing about myself, really. At that point, I just graduated university. I was 21. And I had no fucking clue who I was as a person. I was always, I lived my life for other people. And, I still do for the majority of it. But I think now I've acquired more confidence. I think I've honestly lost count, and it's actually kind of disgusting that I say like the number is probably, I want to say it's close to 100, man, at this point. Like it's like over the last few years, it's bad, man. Like it is it's actually disgusting.
Have you ever run into a girl that you went on a date with? She remembers you, but you have no recollection whatsoever.
Well, it's funny because one of my friends from work, shout out to Naomi, she had a friend that she was gonna. This is actually funny. Okay. She was gonna set me up with her friend from back home from Etobicoke, and then the friend texts her, and she's like, "Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea." And Naomi's like, "Why? Kevin's a nice guy." And she's like, "Oh, I think he dated one of my friends."
Oh, man.
And then she was like, and then I'm like, then they said the name. Naomi said the name. I'm just like, oh, who the fuck is that? And I'm like, oh. So it's a good, yes.
Keep it in the family, man.
So there have been times when, I think, you know what, I think people say with regards to love, and I work with people who are a bit older, at Tommy Bahama and at the clinic.
Shout out to that.
Shout out to them. The average age around them is about 40, 45, so they are a little bit older than I am.
Right.
But they all seem to say the same thing, where it's almost serendipitous in a way. You cross paths with someone, right moment, right time. You just know. They say you just know. And I think for me, I haven't found someone that I can say that. I can't say that I've met someone where I'm just like, that's the one, I've met her yet. And I think the reason why I'm looking around is because, when I first started dating, it was more just, it was fear of commitment, where I was just afraid that I'd be missing out on something, and I wasn't content. I didn't feel like I met enough people at that point. I think now it's just, I hate to say it, but I think it's more just, I'm too decisive, that I think it's almost detrimental, where I have this perfect idea in my mind, and if they don't match it exactly, then I'm like, no.
So do you believe in love? Do you believe in romance? Do you believe in any of that?
Well, I know you're asking this, so I can ask you, so you can then read from your novel. In terms of my stance on love, I think love is,
Love stinks! Yeah! You never watched Wedding Singer?
No, I've never seen
Oh my god! Okay, sorry.
We'll add that to the list. But no, I think love is definitely something that exists between anyone who cares for each other, whether it be friends or family. Romantic love, I think, is just, it is realistic. I just don't think that it's what media and society perpetuates is realistic. I don't think kissing someone in the pouring rain or eyeing someone from across the room is just kind of make-believe. There are things that we want them to be real, but they're just not real. But do you live in Mike? Do you live in Mike, Michael? No. Do you believe? Oh wow! I need to calm down.
I know.
Do you believe in love? I don't know what my hands are doing there.
Oh boy! Good God!
Are we live? By the way, I have done the kissing in the rain, hella romantic, but it just didn't last. Okay. Pick up your school notebooks, kids, because Michael's going to drop some knowledge. Bring on the nice thinking cap here.
We have time, though. Do you have all night, people? Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe because I'm going to preface this by saying the last month or so I've been sick in bed for most of it, just falling apart. My body was just like, let's shut you down for a week, and then you get better, and then the next week, like, let's shut you down again. And
it was a real, like, I'm sick sort of thing.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
No, it
like
wasn't.
Mean Girls, yeah.
No, it wasn't. It was not.
I'm just kidding, man. No, you're bad.
And so maybe this is probably why I have a negative outlook on it. But what I'm about to say.
Fuck, here we go.
Brace yourself. I believe in love, alright? I love love. I think...
You heard it here, folks.
I think...
The man believes in love.
Well, which is... Hold on, just...
Wait a minute.
or two. I think love is all we got in this world, and without it, nothing really matters, and life isn't as fulfilling as it could be. However, and I'm going to make a proclamation here, Kevin, and I said this before show. I am not going to be looking for it. I'm not going to be looking for a significant other. I'm not looking to go back into the dating world, dating game for the foreseeable future. I don't believe in. And it's kind of like, it's going to be kind of counterintuitive and like, well, Michael, how can you kind of believe it but you don't? Well... How much time do we have?
Yeah, how much time do we have?
Look.
That's a good question, actually. We have another 15 minutes.
Shit, I gotta get through all this? Okay. So, when you're with someone, alright, and you really, really love them, you live with a sense of purpose. And that's the part that I always loved the most. And for those of you who know me from Mock and Hoser Hockey Hour, or just know us because we're friends, I'm kind of a hopeless romantic. That's kind of a surprising thing about me. And now I was saying this to Kevin. We all take on certain identities. Okay, we have the identity of the son, the brother, the best friend, the guy at Tommy Bahama's, the guy that works at the clinic,
the guy that hates being a teacher. But
who's that guy? Who's that guy? Who? I think that there's no greater identity out there than someone who is in love. I love it. I think I always will advocate to fight for it. At no point am I a Grinch or an anti-Cupid when it comes to romance. Mm-hmm. But life is not easy. There will be obstacles that come in the way.
Life or love?
Life,
or both?
Well, life and love. I mean,
yeah.
I honestly don't think you can have... And we're talking about romantic love. We're not talking about family love. We're talking about romantic love itself. When things are tense and in a relationship, in my experience, the way I've always combated that kind of stuff and negativity is to shower the other person with more love, because hopefully they would turn, you
really want to just kind of, smother them.
Not by smothering. No, you can do that without smothering, and it's interesting how. And I'm going to go a little off topic. How we're going to have a life chat show, and we're the last people anyone would go to for advice.
I mean, you can speak for yourself.
Oh no, yeah. Actually, you know what? To be honest, Kevin has been kind of like my rock the last few years. You're my rock
for the last
years, like decade. Okay, last 10 years.
Fucking
that's
bitch.
what I meant. Oh well, that's just
that's uncalled for.
That's the way it's called for.
I think you and I have a very different perception of what love is.
But maybe, I don't know, maybe because while I was, believe me, before I got, sick, as Kevin would like to say, I always thought that, it was something that I always wanted to go out there and keep finding and keep striving for. But as I was in bed one day, I was looking up at the ceiling, and that's not nice.
Looking up the ceiling, yeah.
And I was just like, do I really want to? And here's the thing. With dating now is now more referred to as a game. I mean, it's the dating game. How to, like, you have to find, like, not you have to, but there's strategies how to impress a woman, how to separate yourselves from other guys, and
Peacocking, and
what the hell is that?
it's like you wear bright colored stuff to separate yourself. It's like birds do. Like they have like bright colored plumage to attract mates.
Yeah.
Or negging and stuff like that are all tactics that don't actually work, but some people think they do.
Right. So I just don't like that aspect of it, and quite frankly, it's like
you don't like that it's a game.
I don't like that it's a game, and now I've never really had to approach it in that manner, but it just seems like that's the way things are kind of going in our
today's
society. And for me myself, and I'm not gonna it's not gonna be a whole woe is Michael, he's been dealt a bad hand or whatever, but I was talking to Kevin about this. With relationships, more often than not, people tend to be emotionally clobbered, and I just, over the last few years, and I was watching Friends while I was in bed, just
dying.
Yeah. And Rachel says this kind of quote in Friends. I'm a huge Friends fan. I do this, I get clobbered. I do that, I get clobbered. I do this, and I still somehow get clobbered. And I just feel like over the last few years, that's kind of been happening where and I'm not the only one that has said that has said this kind of stuff, that people have put everything and anything into a relationship. Now that might not be the best thing to do, but you know what? If you really, and again, for me, I'm the opposite of Kevin. For me, I don't normally date casually. Actually, I kind of don't.
You avoid that.
I try to as much as I can. But I really take my time, and for me, it's just I'm an all or nothing kind of person, and
letting it all loose.
And it was just it was funny watching that Friends episode, because it kind of has encapsulated my experience with the whole thing. I love relationships. I love being I love waking up to that person the morning after. I just you making breakfast, or you go out for brunch. And I like that aspect, but for me, the emotional hurdles and just all the games and the turmoil that one has to go through, I don't really believe in that. And it's kind of rare these days where that's just not effective.
So you're saying that you can wake up in the morning and not feel like getting up you don't have a purpose of living?
I used to believe that before, but as time has gone on, not that if I'm single, I don't have a purpose. I'm just saying you feel like you have, not a higher purpose, but more of a purpose, maybe. If you're
and that makes sense.
And you're building a future with them and stuff like that.
I guess it just comes. I think that honestly, and there. You know what? I think it depends on the person you're asking, because I think you're right. I think that people find purpose in having children. They have purpose in looking after their elderly parents, because you get to a certain point in your life where you realize that there's more to life than just you, and you do get a sense of solace from looking after someone else. There is satisfaction in that. And I think, you and I can disagree where, personally, I think that in order to be in a healthy relationship with someone, I think that you have to you have to love yourself first, as much a cliche as that is. I think that is true. I think you need to get up, I feel like you need to wake up in the morning, regardless if you're dating someone or not, and feel like I can take on the world today. Like that. I feel like you need to reach that point before you can be with someone.
That's true. And you know what? Love can conquer anything, but it's not in everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
Depends who you ask.
Right. So yeah, you have to love yourself too. But for me, I just feel that it's just I don't believe in it as much as I used to, and it's not just my experiences. It's experiences I've seen. It's experiences I've heard from close friends and family members. I love weddings.
Who doesn't? Open bars.
Well, for me, it's
Italian weddings. It's 10-course meals. It's great.
For me, it's not about that. It's about celebrating one's commitment to each other. I love that stuff, and I'll always, always, always be a supporter of it first. I'm never gonna be the guy that's anti-relationship. In my life, I think I had a pretty good idea a few years ago to avoid all of it, and
shout out to her, right? Fuck.
Which one?
Oh yeah.
But again, this is not a oh woe is me, oh woe is us. This is just how I've been approaching this, and of course, I think me not kind of just being in bed, running out of things to watch on Netflix might have something to do with my negative output. But I do believe that romantic love exists, but I don't like the hurdles. And the thing is, though, once you're with that person, once you go through all the hurdles and you go through all the trials, because again, well, boys and girls, there will be trials, right? Mm-hmm. You know, if I'm gonna, spend time with you, or if I'm willing to invest this relationship in you, I want to make sure, right? There's still all the other stuff that happens after, right? Because now you're in the relationship, but now there's stuff, and there'll be fights, there'll be arguments, but it's how you handle those arguments. Mm-hmm. And some people aren't cut out for that, I think, and it kind of puts a kibosh on the whole thing and gets in the way. But there's work. There's always going to be work. I'm not saying the relationship shouldn't be about work, mm-hmm. but there should be equal compromise, and it should feel good. Like I've never. I mean, well. But I won't... Recently, I'm just going to talk about recently, but I never felt like I had to either compromise. And if I did, I didn't really feel that bad about it.
No.
Never did. And, I always was someone that just was... I loved the identity of being that person that was in love and head over heels over somebody. I loved that feeling. It made it easier to sleep at night. But...
Like you're saying, it's like an identity that people will latch onto the same way that you're the son, the brother, the daughter, the mother, the father. It's like an accolade almost.
But it's an identity that you choose. With those other ones, you don't really choose, right? Am I kind of making sense?
No, I get what you're saying.
I feel like I'm kind of not.
No, I know what you're saying. It's an identity that people want.
Right.
And like you're saying, you're not given. You don't have the choice of being a son. Or you don't have the choice of being a grandson. Yeah. You have the choice of being a friend. You have a choice of being in a relationship with someone.
And relationships, you're part of a team, right? And you're kind of a team in that because it's two of you, and so Bennifer and all that stuff, Brangelina and all that. Maybe those aren't the best ones to pick.
I was just saying probably not, but that's fair.
But and you share the workload equally, and sometimes there are people that just. They say they do, but they don't. And it leads to a lot of... I'm trying not to make this about me. I'm just saying where I'm coming from, because I'm not just talking about... Shut up.
That ship sailed, man. Oh, this isn't about me? Oh, fuck. We have like 5 minutes left.
Shit. Okay. Whoa. What happened up there?
What happened where?
There.
Oh. Yeah, the fucking...
This is where I'm coming from, okay? I believe in it, but it's not for everybody. And right now... And until the unforeseeable future, I'm not going to try running towards it like you have. I think there's... You know what you want. Believe me, I know what I want, but I'm not going to go out of my way, and I'm not going to, search for it, because I'm just not. Like, I'm tired of it. I'm just tired of the BS. I'm tired of drama. I'm tired of all that. And it's just...
See, it's interesting, like you're saying about the finding things. Just because kind of going off what I said before about... people I work with that have a different perspective. Like my manager at Tommy's fucking, Jamie, I love, great guy. But he said that with regards to finding someone that you're in love with, I feel it's like the way I've learned from people, in this case, it's kind of moderation. You don't actively force something, but you need to be open or somewhat open to the idea of meeting someone. I think if you shut yourself off completely and just say the universe needs to present me with someone, otherwise I'm not looking. And that's what you're saying. Okay. But I think from what I'm gaining from what you're telling me is you're saying it's like you're not gonna actively seek it out anymore. You're just you're gonna wait and let it happen naturally.
And you know what? And if it happens, who knows if I'm even gonna pursue it.
Well, stay tuned for episode 2, folks. We gotta see how this
Watch, I say this, and then it's like, oh,
to be continued.
Oh, fuck! And we had our first fight, people. But yeah, it's just, oh shit, you were saying something, I was gonna say something,
about that.
Oh, well,
I
that
completely
sucks.
forgot.
Fuck. What are we gonna do, man?
You know what's actually really fun is having life chats with this guy's mom. Like that.
Yeah, no,
that,
she's a fucking
that,
G,
that,
man.
That's
Yeah.
you know, like man, like some shade that went on. Oh,
Oh, man.
loved it.
Yo,
You have no idea what we're talking about, but things were said. I had to be like, what?
that was so funny.
Yeah.
But basically, case in point, Michael is emotionally shut off. My mom's the best. She is the best. But no, I think Michael and I have. I think that's why this is going to be an interesting show because I mean we still really talked about nothing for half an hour.
That's not true. We talked. No, we don't.
We-
This went somewhere. I think.
No, I feel like it's like the crux of this argument is whether or not you're happier if you're single or if you're happier in a relationship. And I think you're taking the point that you can enjoy being single, but you have the title, you have the identity of someone in a relationship that
Life
means more.
fulfillment.
Yeah, as where I think I'm more akin to the idea that you should be comfortable on your own first, like you can have fulfillment whether you're single or in a relationship.
Right.
So at that point, I would say you can be happy being single. But again, it really, and that's why I like these kind of concept shows because it's all subjective. It depends who you ask.
There is no right answer.
There is no answer, and we can just talk about it because we're fucking people. Wait until automation and just like takes over just like YouTube channels and stuff like that. They can just come up with their own stuff.
Yeah.
Anything's possible.
And again, like guys, if you have any comments about this, let us
Please
know. Do
like
you believe in it?
and subscribe.
I don't-
and all the other bullshit that people have to do.
Talk to the camera when you're asking them to follow us.
Yo.
10 out of 10.
Yo, rest in peace, Last Man Standing, you fucking beauty of a show. Oh,
And
God.
we just lost like 30 seconds because of that.
Lost to talk on Mog. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. No, we're live chats. Yo, but did you say?
I don't remember what I was gonna close with. I really don't. I'm not. You can be happy if you're single. I'm not. That's not what I was getting at. I'm just saying. There's a. For me, I felt like you're living kind of for more if you're in a relationship. But then again, all the BS and drama that you like have to go through with beginning, during, and after, is it worth it?
The answer is no.
Well, if it doesn't pan out.
Well, thanks for listening and thanks for watching the first episode of Life Chats. It's so good. We're bringing the dab back. Yo, it's 2018, man. Bring back the bullying, all that other good stuff. Thank you so much for watching. You guys have been real, and we'll see you soon. Peace. Life Chats.
2000.